Hello and welcome to an episode of the Gangsta Farmer Podcast. I'm your host, Travis.
I'm Nathan.
So today we are coming from Sac County.
Yeah, we're currently in Sac County, but we've been today mostly in Ida County, Iowa.
Yes, beautiful country. I don't know if they call it God's country up here.
Some people do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so today we ventured around Ida County, saw some things, did some things.
Yep. There's a little bit to do out here. So Ida Grove is the central location for Ida County. The courthouse is in that town, and we spent some time there today in Morehead Park and around town a little bit.
Man, I was blown away by Morehead Park. You know, I've heard for many years, they say, Travis, you're going to Iowa. Oh, the first thing they'll say after that is you have to visit Morehead Park.
Yeah, I don't know if Morehead Park is number one on the list for Iowa, but it is definitely a good destination for Ida County.
Yeah, it probably challenges the I-80 truck stop, that's for sure.
Yeah, different tastes. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Man, we were out there. The spring thaw is upon us here in northwest Iowa, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of snow where there's some shade, but it is melting and soaking into the ground pretty quick.
Yeah. Before we know it, spring will be upon us. Today was Leap Day today. Man, any fun Leap Day stories?
I don't have a Leap Day birthday, which I hear can be a trial, but no, just another day pretty much.
Yeah. I think I remember this Leap Day, this one in Ida County.
Yeah, we had a good time.
That's for sure. So Nathan, when we were walking around today, we visited a farm.
Yep.
And went out and walked around a little bit in that field, and yeah, I had mud sticking to my shoes.
Yeah, I mean, it is almost spring, so that's pretty typical. All that moisture from the snow is soaking in and melting, and it's getting kind of wet.
Yeah, I mean, the soil temperature up this far north is still below freezing, but I picked it up and you can start to see some of those water crystals in the soil, and yeah, not too far away. This morning, I saw the climatologist for Iowa State University was calling for a drier spring than what's been talked about. I know people have been scared that there's going to be another spring 2019, which it was looking like that, but it looks like there's hope on the horizon with potentially a drier spring, which I know would be good news for northwest Iowa.
Yeah, a lot of people around here did have a hard time with the water in the ground last spring. I know one of our neighbors actually traveled around to kind of get an idea of what things looked like everywhere else, and his report was that our area was actually pretty well off compared to some other spots, but it was still delaying some planting for a little while.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I did see a couple corn piles on my drive up from Ames, Iowa today up here to Ida County, which I saw multiple here in Ida County. Looks like the ethanol plant is doing well.
Yeah, I mean, the ethanol plant is relatively new. I think that's not even 10 years old yet, and at first they started out with a couple grain bins, and they thought that would do it for them, and then pretty soon they had to add in one corn pile, and I think a couple years later they added the second corn pile, and they're not small piles either.
Yeah, there was 2 large corn piles out here in Ida County that at the ethanol plant, which with South Dakota and farther north here in Iowa has a very strong basis throughout this winter. I'm sure a lot of corn was coming up this way to help with that. So our spring here, it looks like, should be off to a good start with the hopes of a good planting season. So here in Ida County, I am privileged to be able to hang out with Nathan, who happens to be my roommate at Iowa State University.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, by the
way. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, so I'm up here in the county that he grew up in, and today I was blown away, maybe more so than Morehead Park. I believe it or not.
Probably had something to do with the wind.
Oh, wow. It was a windy one.
I think we had the 30-mile-an-hour gusts today. It's really I think the temperature change from yesterday to today helped out with that, but it was pretty blustery.
Those windmills up here were moving.
Yep, they were turning.
How long have Ida County, Sac County area had these windmills?
So Ida County just got 2 main wind farms within the past 3 years. But then up north by Storm Lake, those turbines have actually been in there for 10 or 12 years. So those are older, but around here, pretty new.
Yeah, and they come pretty close to the ground when they swirl.
Yeah, they're actually really low, so I'm told, but they've got pretty large heads on there, and they're not small either.
Yeah, those were monsters, put it lightly. So, but one of the things that I was blown away by up here was Nathan here has this awesome treehouse.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this treehouse is on our farm place, which, in a city you might have issues with, neighbors not really wanting a treehouse that you could climb in and see their yard or anything. But we don't have that problem here. It's just fields around us, so I can pretty much go as high as I want, with parents' permission and that kind of thing. So this treehouse that I have, I started building a little bit before high school, and I didn't really have a plan when I started, but as I kept throwing lumber up there, I decided, I probably want this to stay up in the tree for a good amount of time. So I sat down and did a drawing one day, and I've kind of followed that drawing, and now I've got 3 main stories. There's metal on the roof, so that's kind of keeping the water out, and I put on some siding too, so it's kind of looking more like a house.
Yeah, I mean, from the road, it looks like you got a house, literally a house in a tree.
So I don't know if anyone's heard of the show Treehouse Masters, but I've seen a couple episodes of that, and it's not really anything quite like the stuff they do on that show, but it isn't really your small neighborhood treehouse either.
Oh.
I worked on it throughout high school, and it helps that my dad does construction, so he always had some materials around that I could use, and it was I would say it was my passion project for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm 6'5", and even I managed to make it all the way. I thought it was never ending. I managed to make it to the top.
There's a couple places where Travis had to stoop a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, and with that wind today, I mean, I couldn't really tell. I mean, I got to the top of the tree, might have been swaying a little bit.
Well, trees are going to sway in the wind. This one's no different. I put it in a big pine tree, so that was kind of interesting when I was building this. I actually didn't have to cut a lot of branches out, but one thing I did notice is when I did cut a branch, it got pretty sappy, and the sticky sap dripped everywhere. So that was something a little different, putting a treehouse in a pine tree.
Oh man! So why I have Nathan here on the Gangsta Farmer Podcast? I would be remiss if I didn't ask a few questions about Legos.
Oh, of course. So my brother and I, Josh, are Lego fans, lifelong Lego fans pretty much. We've been into Lego since our very young years. And growing up out here, we're pretty far away from towns and stuff, so we had to keep ourselves entertained. That happened to be Lego, so we've been buying the sets and buying secondhand pieces and putting stuff together for 10, 12 years now, and last year we started our own YouTube channel too, so I'd say we're pretty much fully engaged.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with this, folks. It's such a great hobby to have too. I mean, there's like value in it, and you can make things. Yeah, and
that's part of how we actually fund our hobby. Is we'll buy the sets when they go on sale. We have to sit on them for a few years, but then after a short amount of time, the value goes back up, and you can actually sell those secondhand for a little bit of a profit. So,
yeah, man. After seeing what all is in with your Legos, I'm like, I need to contact somebody in Lego. I need to contact. Does Lego know about this? I mean,
oh, they know about it. We've been sending them money for a while.
Oh
now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's interesting. There's a lot of websites out there where you can. There's one website called Brick Picker that's actually devoted to kind of treating Lego like a stock, like a commodity, and it'll track, which sets are actually going up in value, and some sets have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in value over the years, and it's kind of interesting to see that. And if you buy the right ones and leave them in the box, you're actually sitting on a little bit of money. So
Yeah.
check your closets.
That is true. I mean, I think I have a box of Legos in my basement that
a lot of people do.
Yeah. They don't even know. Makes you wonder. Yeah, so that just kind of shows to find a hobby, find a passion that you never know what it might be worth, or just to find joy in something like that.
And find someone to do it with. I mean, Josh and I have a lot of fun. We bounce ideas off each other. It's a lot of help to have both of us working on our YouTube channel as well. And if one of us gets burnt out, the other one can pick it up for a little bit. And we're brothers, so we've got to do it together.
Oh, that's a good philosophy to have. Yeah, and farming, a lot of the times you have to work with brothers and family, so I definitely can relate to that and how that goes.
Yeah.
So with families, they work together and
some do.
Yeah. Who knows how that goes, but for the most time you hope it goes well, and with that you are in the same area for a long time. Yeah. So when I pulled into your driveway here today, I saw a sign that said Century Farm.
Yep.
Yeah. What's all with that?
Well, our county, I think it's our county, it might be statewide. We've got a program that will, they keep records of who's owned land in the area. And when the same section of land has been in the same family for 100 years or more, they will give you this sign to put up on the land, Century Farm. And basically, it's just a way to show other people that this particular area has been in the same family for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you hold that dear to yourself that your family's been here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I know in farming especially, it can mean a lot for the people that work the ground itself and do that. I personally am not farming. It is in our family, and it has significance.
Yeah, I mean, the value of knowing generations before myself, before my family have been here, and with the hope of generations to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so thank you for listening to this episode of the Gangsta Farmer Podcast.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Nathan, letting me come up here and hang out in Ida County.
Oh, of course.
Sac County.
We live on the county line, so we like to joke that we live in Sac County, but our mailbox is in Ida.
I've only been here for a day, and I already feel that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Gangsta Farmer Podcast.